can't sleep? You're not alone. Neither can I. And as it turns out, nor can millions of us. Around 30% of people in the UK suffer from poor sleep, and 1 in 10 would meet criteria for insomnia. If you're someone who struggles with sleep, you've probably seen a lot of this.
Hey guys, how I fall asleep quickly.
If you have insomnia, you're not working hard enough.
And you may have tried some of these.
I highly recommend this if you're having any issues with sleep.
But that elusive cure is hard to find. And all the while, you're still lying awake.
So I'm just going to lie here probably for the next 3.5 hours until about half an hour before my alarm goes off without falling to sleep.
If it isn't already obvious, I'm an insomniac. And I'm trying to find out why curing insomnia is so hard when the problem seems so simple. I'm speaking to sleep experts, other insomniacs, and I'm also monitoring my sleep online, which has been surprisingly helpful. I'll come back to that later, but first I want to know what's going wrong. Why can't I sleep?
Occasionally something happens in life that disrupts sleep for a bit, and it's acute, but it settles. You know, you move house, the dog dies, it's Christmas, your mother-in-law's coming round. It doesn't matter. There's something acutely stressful, and it's a normal response at one level to be a little on edge and not to sleep as well. But that usually settles. It doesn't become this ingrained habit where you start to chase sleep. If you go 3, 4, 5 nights a week, so most nights of the week for 3 months or more, that would be defined as insomnia disorder. You know, this has become a problem. And then people with chronic insomnia, they start to do things not deliberately, but they're making the night worse. They start to chase sleep. They start to become much more preoccupied with the act of sleep itself. So paradoxically, they are making insomnia worse.
It's 2:43 a.m.
Woke up at 12:30, went back to sleep again, woke up at 2:30.
It's 5:15. I've been awake since 3:30.
My mind can't stop thinking.
It's obvious to me that insomnia has a lot to do with what's going on in the mind. To find out more about it, I spoke to a clinical psychologist, and he started by looking over a sleep diary that I've been keeping for the past 2 weeks. Hello.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, Leah, I've had a look at your sleep diary. It's very well kept, by the way, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
What I can see is that you have quite an irregular pattern. There's days where you are getting 2 or 3 hours sleep a night, and there are days when you're getting much more. The times you're getting out of bed can vary from really, really early in the morning to midday.
I'd like to add, that is just at the weekend.
Something that lots of people who describe poor sleep report is that before they go to sleep, they tend to get this build-up of what we call excessively negative cognitions, pretty unpleasant thoughts about sleep. So things like, you know, I just know I'm going to have another rubbish night tonight. You know, I bet you I'm not going to be able to get to sleep.
Oh yeah, I think about how well I'm going to sleep that night, probably for about 2 hours every day.
Up until relatively recently, sleep problems such as insomnia was often seen as this kind of a secondary complaint to things like mood disturbance or anxiety, and it was sort of relegated to the back of the queue, and we treated the other elements of the picture, but then also didn't really put too much attention on insomnia.
Yeah, I sometimes feel like embarrassed to complain about it because all I'm really saying is that I'm tired, and everyone's tired, aren't they? But I kind of think if people understood a little bit more what it is we're saying when we say we're really tired, then it would be taken a bit more seriously.
It's not only the effect it has on you, the change it brings into your life, but it's also the social aspect of it, which is very difficult to deal with.
I generally find it quite hard to navigate my way sensibly through a conversation.
I can't commit to people, events, even holidays that I love. Even going to the cinema is sometimes an effort.
Poor sleep isn't just about feeling groggy the next day. Stuff like mental health problems, heart disease, diabetes and cancer are all more likely if you're not getting the rest you need. So it is a pretty big deal.
Every function within brain and body requires sleep. So whether it's immune function, whether it's when your growth hormones secreted, whether it's the control of metabolism, whether it's consolidating all of your memories. So it's an absolute necessity. It's just not something we can do without or interrupt for any length of time at all.
But if you've ever been to the doctor for this, you've probably been told stuff that you've already heard. Eat a banana before bed, turn off your phone, take a relaxing bath, take some sleeping pills. But if you're anything like me, you'll agree that this stuff just isn't good enough. It can feel quite unfair. So if it's like getting up at 6 a.m. every morning to go for a run, only eating salad all day, coming home, not doing anything in the evening apart from read a book, going to bed at 9 p.m. Do you know what I mean? Whereas people who just sleep don't have to think about any of this stuff. And I kind of think, well, I can't be bothered to do any of this. I just want to do what I want, and then I deserve to go to sleep.
It's a really good point. You do deserve to go to sleep, and you don't deserve to worry about all this stuff. I see people in clinic every week and they say, all I've had for years is sleep hygiene leaflets and it doesn't work. And I would totally agree. The evidence is very clear that sleep hygiene is not a treatment in and of itself. It's a foundation upon which we build good sleep.
I don't smoke, I only drink socially.
I don't have any caffeine apart from the odd chocolate bar.
I've tried sleeping tablets and meditation and yoga, and nothing really helped.
There's two problems that GPs have. One is a practical management issue. They don't have the resources to help people where sleep's concerned because they only have access to sleeping pills. They don't like to disappoint their patients, so they end up giving them doses of treatment that are not effective, like suggesting things, or maybe your room's not ventilated well enough, or things that people already know.
With professional medical help lacking, there's an endless stream of videos, forums and products that all claim to solve your sleep problems. And I'm definitely not immune. I've downloaded all the sleep apps, tried all the at-home remedies, invested in expensive bedding, and spent way too much on the latest sleep tech.
This is something really, really important. And to get it right, it merits clinical help. And what solves insomnia problems best is something called cognitive behavioural therapy, because you use strategies to deal with that mental preoccupation to help get the sleep pattern back into a normal rhythm and to allow sleep to happen naturally.
CBTI works by changing the thoughts and habits that might be making sleep difficult and can prevent the negative patterns that stop us sleeping.
CBTI is really good for treating insomnia. There's a wealth of clinical literature that's shown this to be an effective way of helping people sleep better. Unfortunately, in the UK, it's not as widely available as I'd like it to be, and I think as everyone would like it to be. But it's worth looking out for the treatment, whether that's provided through digital medicine, through psychological therapy services, or through some other means. It's CBTI that you're looking for.
If this is something that we know works, why is it that it isn't more widely available?
I think GPs are clearly under a huge amount of pressure these days. We haven't got enough GPs in the NHS. And I think coupled with the fact that sleep medicine is a relatively new field, clinically speaking, it hasn't drawn the kind of attention that other things have. And we're beginning to recognise it as a legitimate complaint. I need more sleep because I'd like to be a happy person and fulfilling my potential.
All right, thanks very much.
Bye, and you, bye. Going into this process, I thought that I knew everything there was to know about insomnia. I've also realised that I had basically given up hope of ever changing it, that actually this isn't the way it has to be. I've decided to take it more seriously because it is a genuine condition, and I'm now going forward going to treat it as such. And for the first time basically in my life, I've got hope that potentially this could change for me. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave your comments below, and if you like what we're doing, then click here to support The Guardian.